Let's look at a foundational concept behind decision making using the example of Fred's Fruit Co. And if we looked at a timeline here and we say this is now, we can look at what Fred's Fruit has been doing in, say, the past 3 or 4 years. And we could see that in this year made this much profit growing apples. This year, this much. Be this year, this much. If this is profit and this is time. And Fred looks at his apple growing profit and says, wow, it's declining. Maybe I should stop growing apples and start growing something else. So Fred talks to his farming neighbors and they say, well, the thing to grow now is pears. So Fred is sitting here in the present saying, well, I wonder if I should grow apples or if I should grow pears. And Fred can look at the cost of pear plants. He can look at the cost of apple plants. He can look at the market price for the fruit. He could look at risk for each one, a whole bunch of different things. But Fred is not going to be able to make a rational decision about whether to grow apples or whether to grow pears unless he looks at the future. And this is the basic concept that all decisions must be future driven. So before Fred can analyze the future of apples and the future of pears and determine which one he likes better, he has to define the desired outcome. And this can vary and have a huge impact. If the desired outcome is to keep the farm looking exactly the same, that's going to lead to a different result than if the desired outcome is, say, maximum profit. So let's, for this example, assume that maximum profit is what Fred wants. Then Fred's going to need to list options, and in this example, we're going to say that his only two options to grow are apples and pears. And I might note that I think ethical limits often apply at this phase. Stealing his neighbor's apples is not an ethical option, even though it might be more profitable than growing his own apples or pears. So then, kind of the heart of the matter, he's got to forecast the outcomes, and this is where the future comes into play. So Fred has got to go in here and predict profit from apples and pears. Maybe he decides, based on the way the apple market's been going, he's looking at this much profit from apples. Hold on, let's get the right color here. Let's try that again. He determines that next year apples are expected to be this profitable. Maybe he thinks the decline is going to stop and apples will be this profitable. And then he thinks maybe it'll get a little better. So based on this 3-year time frame, here's our projection for apples. Then he's got to do the same thing for pears. Probably in in the first year he might lose some money because he's got to dig up his apple plants and plant pears. In the second year, maybe he projects a low profit, and in the third year, a much higher profit. There's all kinds of calculations that have to go into this. What's the cost of labor and plants and chemicals, and what's the proceeds from sales, and all kinds of things. But Fred's got to bottom out to these profit numbers for each scenario and then compare future states. And this is a simple concept, but a very important one, that if Fred is sitting here in the now trying to make this decision, then nothing from the past is going to inform this decision, and nothing from now is going to tell him. The only way he can make this decision is to define his desired outcome and then at a specified time in the future compare the outcome of option A, apples, to option B, pears, see which one is better.